John, one of the knocks against many religions, particularly Christian religions, is the claim that they are exclusivists, that only if you're a member of the inner circle, however that's defined, will you be so-called saved. What's your view on that? Because some would like to see that everyone be saved, and no matter what their condition is, that God will ultimately reconcile everyone.
The Christian church of the last 2,000 years has had a difficult time grappling with this one, there's no question about that. And there have been a couple of people who taught that all will be saved, and they usually end up getting condemned for it. Something like Origen was condemned for many reasons, but that was one of them. Gregory of Nyssa also taught that. Isaac of Syria also taught that. It's a really difficult one.
Condemned is not good, right?
No, condemned, because I wouldn't want to be there.
Right,
I wouldn't want to go
right.
that direction. I think that the question really has to be understood in terms of, well, what do you mean by salvation? Yeah? And salvation, in a Christian perspective, is coming to find one's existence in Christ. However you want to flesh that out, but that's kind of the heart of it, which ultimately means being conformed to Him. Okay? And I would say that part of the providential wisdom of God in doing that is having created us in such a way that we will all die. We're all going to have to come to terms with our death. Christ has shown us what it is to be God by the way He dies, for us offering His life and so on. Well, we're all going to die, and there's no way around that question.
Okay.
And I think that there's a strong part of the Christian tradition which actually sees death as being educative. Yeah? I guess you could see that in the kind of language of purgatory and hell and those kind of things, but that's kind of much more negative connotations, obviously, with that than educative. Death will teach me my weakness in myself. I will actually come to know that I'm mortal and that I don't have life from myself in myself.
Well, that implies that you have a chance after you die to
that's
change
what I was
your
going
direction.
to say. I was going to say, it will actually reduce me to nothing, and only, in fact, once I'm nothing, dust in the earth, will I actually be able to know God's strength. The kind of Pauline paradox that God's strength is made perfect in weakness. Well, I've got to learn my weakness in order to come to know His strength. So I would actually say that God's providential design of ensuring that everybody does in fact die is a way of actually bringing people to come to know of their need for Him like that. But then the question then becomes, how are you going to respond to that? And what patterns of life are you going to build up in this life which will condition how you respond to that?
Well,
the more we become habituated to ways of doing things, the harder it is to overcome them.
Yeah, but the fundamental question is after you die, do you have the opportunity to overcome? Because most Christian religions, at least what's publicly
I would absolutely
today,
say we all have the opportunity, and we should
but
all
most disagree with that. Most say that if you don't make the grade when you die, you're allocated one direction or the other, and that's permanent, and there's nothing you can do about that. Therefore, we better get your soul saved today.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
That's not true. That's
not
important.
at all.
So there is this opportunity after you die by learning these lessons, or death being a great educator, which is an interesting concept.
Right.
However, I'm willing to learn.
The more habituated we become, the harder it is to learn the lesson. So you might say, somebody who's smoked for 40 years, do they have the freedom not to smoke? Yes. Are they able not to smoke? Maybe not.
Well, but given enough time after you die and knowing the different consequences, I would hope that everyone would. Wouldn't you?
Even using the example of smoker, of course they can stop smoking. Are they actually going to be able to do it? Will they bring themselves to do it? That's a different question. And so it's maintaining the universal providence of God's wisdom in His dealings with the human race, yet at the same time maintaining human freedom always to have the option to say no.
Even after you die?
Even after you die. But freedom to say no as well as to say yes. I actually prefer to keep to my cigarettes rather than live a life of weakness in God.